Okay guys, so today we are doing watercolors. Watercolor is going to look a little different this year because we have art on a cart and I don't feel comfortable with handing cups out to everyone. So we will simply be cleaning off our brushes with a baby wipe. So whenever we're doing watercolors, you will simply see our paint palette with brush included and a baby wipe, and that's all you're really going to need. Now I have used just a little bit of water and a straw to load up all of our colors with a couple drips of water, and they are ready for you to start painting. So when it comes to painting our landscapes, you will simply take your brush, no water necessary. You're going to go into whatever color you want first. Let's say I'll go ahead and do my waterfall first. I'm going to pick up just a little bit of our blue paint. I'm trying my very best not to make a huge mess. Other students have to use these after you, so do your best to keep your area nice and tidy. I'm going to leave my mist white, so I won't need to put anything on that. Because these brushes are new, if you look, you may be able to see I have a couple of stray hairs. So this is where my baby wipe can come in handy. I can kind of pinch those extra hairs off so that they don't leave funky marks on my paper. Now, because we are simply using a baby wipe to clean off our artwork, as in lightening our color, we won't be able to lighten our water very much at all, or any of our colors for that matter, but we can darken them by using black. So what I can do at this point, since I've already applied my blue, if I would like to make my blue a little darker in some areas, I can pick up some black on my brush and I can go in and add some shadow lines if I'd like to. You have the ability to make your colors darker, you just won't have the ability to make them lighter. Because typically we would use water to lighten up our colors, but since we're not using water to clean off our brushes this year, we just won't be able to do that. Now, if you have a color on your brush and you're going to dip into another color, you need to clean off your brush, and this is where your baby wipe comes in handy. So you'll simply wipe your brush off on your baby wipe until you see no more of that color, and then you should be good to go. Now, I dipped from blue to black, and that's okay because black is a lot darker than blue. None of my colors are really going to mix into my black and change it. Black is the darkest color, so it's going to take over really any of these other colors. But if I'm moving from any other color, if I was going from blue to yellow or orange to green or purple to red, any of those, I need to make sure that I am wiping my brush off in between. So next I will do my trees. Now, although we will not be able to lighten colors, we can start to mix some colors on our paper and make some new colors throughout the process. So both of my trees are currently green, but I can change the tint of my green. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean off my brush again, and I'm going to pick up some yellow. And I'm going to use this yellow to go over top and kind of mix into my green here so that I'm getting a little bit more of a lime green. You can see those were the same colors, but now this one's a lot lighter. And then I'm going to go into my blue, and I'm going to mix my blue with my green that I put here. So this shade of green is much more of a cooler shade because I mixed in blue, whereas this shade is a lot warmer because I've mixed in yellow. So just because you are limited to not using water doesn't mean you can't still color mix. You can still color mix all you'd like. You just have to make sure that you are cleaning off your brush in between. Now you can already see my little paper towel or my baby wipe here is already getting pretty messy. That is expected. So I have some extras if you guys need them. You can see, just like always, I am being very careful of my brush's hairdo. So I'm not taking my brush and scrunching it into the paper. I am simply rubbing it on its side so that I keep my bristles going in one direction at all times. I don't want them to start to fan out. Now you can see with my mountains that I'm starting to develop, these are kind of the same color. If I wanted to, I could go back over one of my rocks that I have already painted and do a second layer in order to make it a darker tone. And that just gives it a little bit more dimension. Makes it look like these are different rock formations with some layers to them. Now, if ever your color starts to get very dry, and you can clearly tell that there's no more little water droplets in your pan, you can raise your hand and Miss Collins can add a couple drops to your palette in order to kind of liven up your color. You can see my brush is getting pretty dry, so I'm going to do that with my black. Just like that, and should be good to go. Okay, so now that I am finished painting, you can see that my colors still look exactly the same as they did when they started. I have not mixed any of my colors together. I haven't made a huge mess on my palette. We're using these smaller brushes, so it should be pretty easy for us to keep everything on our artwork nice and tidy while also keeping everything on our palette nice and clean. When you are finished, you should have a very messy baby wipe. Please don't touch it very often because I don't want our fingers covered in paint. Miss Collins will come around and dispose of this, and your only job is to make sure that your brush is nice and cleaned off, and then you will pop it right back into the palette and close it very carefully for the next class. Thank you, good luck, and try your very best. I can't wait to see how these turn out. Bye guys.